MSNBC analyst threatens Trump. He said, the violence will continue until you do what we want. Wow. Holding the president of the United States hostage. This is the definition of terrorism, where you do these you make these terroristic threats, you do these terroristic things politically to get what you want. That is the very definition of terrorism. And and this MSNBC analyst admits that they are the terrorists. I told you what I've been saying about the left, what I've been saying about the Democrat Party. They are in favor of what's going on because they don't get what they want, because we have different beliefs than them, because we have different opinions than them. They believe it's okay for them to kill people, to damage people's property, to hurt people, all these other things until they get what they want. Again, that is the very definition of terrorism. And we're going to talk about it. And we're going to play the clip. But before we get started, go ahead and hit that like button. Share this out so we can get this information out there. Subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and hit that alarm bell so you know when I'm putting out new stuff. Also, check out my link tree in the description. There's a link to my Patreon. That's where I talk about things that I can't talk about here. There's also a link to my Instagram and my X account, so follow me there as well. All right, so let's get into this news. Now, this comes from the Federalist, and they report that MSNBC analyst Christopher O'Leary threatened that violence against the right will continue until violent leftists are given what they want. O'Leary made this threat while discussing a Wednesday shooting in which one individual was killed and two others were injured after a gunman opened fire on an ICE transportation vehicle in Dallas. Investigators announced that rounds found near the shooter, who died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound, were inscribed with anti-ICE messaging. Notably, there was a bomb threat at the same facility last month, according to DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs, Tricia McLaughlin, as the Federalist previously reported. O'Leary blamed the violence on, quote, conditions that result in people, quote, acting out, arguing these perpetrators believe they have no other recourse. So he's basically accepting this. Well, this is what's going to happen until the president curtails to what we want. That's basically what he's saying. And this is disgusting work. Let's play the clip. Here we go.
Terrorism falls into really three categories. It's either religiously motivated, ideologically motivated, or in this case, politically motivated. And the politically motivated ones, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. It happens because conditions have been set that people start acting out against. What are the conditions? So, distrust in institutions. That's been building for quite some time. Attacks on institutions, the wealth gap, oppressive policies, at least this is what people perceive. And then, the militarization of ICE and other federal law enforcement, the wearing of the mask, the aggressive tactics. So the people who are starting to act out against this feel it's their only recourse. Again, this is predictable. We see this happening throughout our history and in other places as well. So, we can tone down the rhetoric, and that's the right message. But you also have to start looking at what policies you've implemented, what tactics you're using, because if you tone down the rhetoric, but you leave those other pieces in place, nothing's going to change.
So I wonder, though, this is the shooting and killing of Charlie Kirk was about 2 weeks ago. And then right before that, again, a month before that, was the shooting and killing of kids and others at a church, school church. Then you have the healthcare CEO a year before that. By the way, the judge dismissed the terrorism law charges here in New York. So that kind of is something we could discuss. But it feels like it's getting more frequent. Tensions are certainly very high. How do you stop the next person from doing this? Or what are you doing right now if you are law enforcement and you're trying to make sure that this is the end of this sort of politically motivated violence?
Well, the first thing is you take the underlying drivers away, like we talked about. First of all...
Or how do you spot it? Who are you looking at right now?
The trouble with domestic terrorism is it's different. You cannot go after people just because of their First Amendment protected rights. You can't go after them for their speech because they're gathering in protests or anything else. There are no designated groups, despite some of the recent assertions of the administration. there, ISIS and Al Qaeda and plenty of other federal terrorist organizations, foreign terrorist organization, FTOs, I can open an investigation or charge somebody when I was in the FBI just because they're a member of that organization. None of that exists right now.
So basically, he's saying Trump need to change his tactics. He need to change his policies, and then the violence will stop. What? Are you serious? I can't believe he said that. I can't believe he said that. In other words, unless the right caves to radical leftist demands, violence will continue. O'Leary's comments would be the same as saying we can't eradicate armed robberies if we just let criminals have anything. I'm sorry, we can eradicate armed robberies if we just let criminals have anything they want for free. It's stupid logic. It's dumb logic. O'Leary's comments give the left a ridiculous bargaining chip. Threaten violence unless opponents cave to your demands. Instead of rationalizing violence, O'Leary and the rest of the propaganda press should be condemning the continued bloodshed spurred by radical leftists. But they won't. They never will, because they secretly agree with what's going on, because they want their way or the highway, and that's exactly what's going on here. But y'all, let me know what y'all think about this. Leave your comments down below. Like, share, and subscribe, and check out jjthepsychotherapist.com for the latest in news. Until next time, peace.